I'm pretty sure weak bone's just a natural part of ageing. I'll worry about it when I get old.
Actually, osteoporosis can affect people as young as 50. How much do you really know about the Big O? Find out more at thebigo.com.au.
Angus, we know that the single's out and the album's going to be released in November, and you were planning to go on the road, but a little thing called COVID-19 stopped that. And I was thinking to myself, well, America's stuffed with the pandemic, so is Europe. Australia is as COVID-free as anywhere in the world. Maybe you should start here.
Yeah, you've got a great point there. Yeah, you're right. I guess, but we're waiting for the all clear. And I think the first place that opens up and gets running, I'm sure we'll be there, ready to go.
We'll get you on the back of a truck again in Swanston Street, eh?
That'd be a luxury, yeah.
You use the name of the album is Power Up, so the word power appears there. I got a mate who plays in a band called Hunters and Collectors, and they had an album produced by a fella called Waddy Wachtel. And Waddy Wachtel, he did a lot of work with Warren Zevon, told the boys in Hunters and Collectors that Power Age is one of the greatest rock and roll albums of all time.
Yeah, Waddy's a big, well, Waddy, I know Waddy, from, he was gigging, he did quite a bit of gigging with Keith Richards with the Stones. So, yeah, Waddy was a big guy, he was the guy that actually turned on Keith to what we did, he played Keith, our album at the time, and he said, because he was trying to, see what Keith was, would really like, and he played in that album, and Keith, heard it once, and then he said, "Put it on again," and he said, "Put it on again," So it become, it's an album, for Keith that he really loves that album. He thinks it's part of his. Ritual now that he's got that album with him everywhere.
Angus, you've got lots of fans all over the world, and I guess unsurprising that someone like Keith Richards would like you. Is there anyone that you've discovered is a fan of Akadaka and which has taken you by surprise? I mean, I don't know, like, Prince Charles or someone?
The Queen?
I don't know about that part. But, you get the odd person that'll say, so-and-so's a big fan, yeah. And I know through Europe we've had the odd personality, somebody very aristocratic like a prince or somebody who has actually come to a show. And I mean, we wouldn't know. We just, we go and we play, but they'll say, "Oh, we had someone here who's quite important."
Angus, I've seen you at Sydney Myer Music Bowl in '81. I saw you a few years back at Festival Hall. Have you got a favourite concert or a favourite venue? I've warmed up for this interview by watching a whole lot of Rosie from River Plate.
Right. Well, River Plate, yeah. Well, Argentina has always been a great place to play anyhow. Anytime we ever... from the very first time we ever played in Argentina, I mean, they were just a very, they loved their rock music, and they just went bananas the first time they saw it. It's probably Argentina is probably one of the countries that ever, I remember doing a radio interview once, and the guy was just, all he could talk about was Bon Scott, Mm. And, and I had to, halfway through the interview, I said, well, we were with him,
He wasn't on his own.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my, Russell and I are sitting in my study at the moment at my home, and I'm looking up at a photograph that I've got as a poster. And it's you with the boys, including Bon, sitting at Horsham Railway Station on the 12th of January 1977. Do you ever think back to those days?
Oh, yeah. A lot of great memories, Especially going, through Australia, just playing in a lot of places. And I remember, you yourself were commenting on the back of the truck. And I remember us even going through places like Queensland and even through New South Wales and some of the country areas, where they just had a field, and, like a little rough grandstand and, out would come the truck and we would play on the back, the back of a truck, So that was your stage and everything.
So I've got a question here from a young rocker who says, in the early days, AC/DC was known for playing anywhere and everywhere. You've of course played sold-out tours and stadiums all around the world. But what was the best school formal you ever played at?
The best school formal? Oh, I don't know. I mean, we were that many. I think one of my cherished things was in South Australia once. Was playing to a lot of. We were playing to a lot of school audiences from different ages, like high school years, the primary schools, and also the little, the preschoolers, like the kindergarten. But I think the one of the great ones was, when we were playing for some, the school with deaf children, and they loved it. I think they roared more than any of the, like what you would say, people without that affliction. They were just so enthusiastic, and I'd always thought, geez, there we are, I said, that was probably the highlight for me,
Tell us about the new album, Power Up. The mate I referred to before was telling me that he was speaking to an engineer who worked on one of your albums when it was recorded in Sydney, and he said you would sometimes record all night, then buy some beers and go fishing in Sydney Harbour in a dinghy. Did you do that in Vancouver? Mal and especially Phil, they'd get out a little boat there, and do a bit of fishing, a bit of beer drinking, after a gig and stuff, And sometimes even the band, when we went first into America and that, a whole troop of them would go off on Mal, Cliff. They would all get out, get a boat and go fishing, And that would be after, at night. And so with Power Up, was it a punishing schedule?
No, not really. Everyone was, happy to be doing it. And so everyone was just, for us it was, probably as we all knew it, it was how we always done an album, we always got there, did all the, what we normally did. So, I think for us it was, there was no pressure for anyone. We just felt, right, we'll get in, we got the songs, let's do it. And that's how we've always done it, any album we ever did. We always tried to get all the hard work done before, get the songs all together, so whenever we got in a studio, and that comes also from our early years, you get in the studio and all we had to concentrate on was getting great performance.
Angus, it looks to me that the school uniform is about the same size it was when you first started wearing it. Is that about right?
That is, yeah. I don't have to squeeze into it, no. And I mean, I've been in those school for longer than, I mean, that's, as Phil says, Angus has been more in the school than he has been in his cities,
Yeah. Well, and longer than you're at school.
That's right, yeah. And I just got to say that. I was a product of state education,
We don't want to take too much of your time up, but just a couple of quick questions. Is there one particular song that if you don't play it, the fans will go crook?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one because we've got quite a few. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of big songs, and over the years, I would think "Highway to Hell," "Back in Black." Well, a lot of songs off of that era, and also from the early days, TNT songs like that.
What was your dream guitar when you were growing up?
What was my dream guitar.
Yeah, so you got the Gibson SG now, but what was the dream guitar when you were growing up?
That was the guitar I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a mate who was he was American, and he had a big Gibson guitar, jazz guitar that he played, and he had a catalogue, and he was and he was showing me the catalogue, and as I was going through it, I saw the SG, and I said, that's the guitar for me. Because it had the double cutaway. It wasn't like the Les Paul. The Les Paul was just, the single cutaway. The SG, if you notice, it's got, two cut. It's got the twin cutaway, and for me, when I saw that, and I said, hey, and it's got the, if you see it now, it's got, it's almost like devil horns,
Yes.
And just finally, Angus, I saw a reference to the fact that at some stage in the last few years you went back to Australia. Where do you go in Australia?
Well, I try to go because a lot of my family, were here in Sydney. A lot of them were here, and I've got some up in Queensland. So, I would those would be the places I try to go. Yeah.
Fantastic. The album is the single's out now, Shot in the Dark, and the album's out on November